My name is
Hello.
Natalia. Hi, I'm the host of the very first SEO Academy live Q&A today. My co-host is Will Martin, our very own heyitswill.com. Is it heyitswill or heyitswill.com period? I don't know.
Well, if you're on TikTok, it's heyitswill.com. Everywhere else, it's heyitswill. Some kid already had that on TikTok, so I can't get it. But I may do.
Right.
This is also my wife. She failed to mention this is my wife, Natalia, and also business partner. And so this Hey It's Will thing, we run it together. So she'll be hosting these and kind of helping us dive in and dig deep into some stuff today. So yeah, I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. I'm the brains behind the brains.
She's the beauty and the brains behind me.
He's sweet. Yeah, actually, like out of nowhere yesterday, I'm gonna mention this because it like took me by surprise. Last night you were like out of nowhere, you're like, I think you're really awesome and I think you're really cool and like all of these things, and I'm like, okay. But like it really caught me by surprise, and I really appreciated it because it was so unexpected.
Take note, husbands.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool to get that like out of nowhere, like just a little appreciation like that. So thanks, babe.
Well, I mean, just so everybody knows, I mean, a lot of people in this academy and that are connected with me, you guys are business owners. You understand, and a lot of you are doing it by yourself. So you understand what goes into, things like marketing and billing and social media presence and things like that. And I am not having to do that alone, which is huge. A lot of people do start their own business. And one of the reasons I started this was to help give people the tools so that they could start their own business and be successful and market themselves through SEO and content marketing. But if you can have a partner like I do, who happens to be your wonderful spouse, and you're able to work together and build something and, use your strengths, because she's got a completely different set of strengths than I do in business. And so we're able to kind of bring those together, and it just makes things really awesome. So if you guys have interacted with me through email, it's probably come through Natalia. She helps keep me straight and keep me in line with deadlines and things like that. So I'm just excited to do this, excited to be here. So what are we going to talk about today?
We are going to talk about a lot of things. So it's our very first live. And so there's a lot that we have to cover. I wanted to introduce you, of course, and I wanted to introduce us because I'll probably be co-hosting the live Q&As and kind of moderating the chat and all that stuff. So I wanted to at least get on screen the first time around so you guys know who is behind all of that. So we did that. We do have a feature topic later that we're going to discuss, and that is off-page SEO. So stay tuned. After we do the other stuff, we'll go through off-page SEO, and there's a lot of cool insights that you have planned for everyone to kind of go through during this live as well. And then we are just going to go through SEO Academy, what it means, what the impact has already been, what we have planned for the SEO Academy moving forward, and all of that stuff. So it's very exciting. And so this is almost like a launch video where we lay out the expectations, what you can expect from the SEO Academy, what kind of value you can expect from Will and from what Will is creating here, and to give you an opportunity to kind of give us your feedback of topics and tutorials that you're looking for, the kind of help that you need and stuff like that, so we can create this synergy where Will can be most helpful to you in this niche. So as far as the SEO Academy, so we haven't made any money on this thing because this whole month, everybody that is on SEO Academy has been getting a free trial. So for those of you that are taking advantage of the free SEO Academy, welcome. Thank you so much for checking us out. Thank you so much for signing on. Thank you so much for supporting Will and believing in his content and stuff like that. So we really wanted to say thank you for everyone that's already signed up. We do have a free platform that has, I think it's over 30 people at this point. So it's a good crowd in there right now, where you kind of, you go in there and you answer questions that people have. You talk to people about, the issues that they're having with their SEO, just engaging in this community. So the people that are in there can network and kind of share business, share ideas, and help each other out and stuff like that. So that free platform has a lot of value to it. But the paid SEO tier that is free this month has a lot of really cool content in there too. You have your SEO 101 course in there, which is an hour-long course that just breaks down into very simple, very clear and understandable terms, all of the basics of SEO, right? Tell me about the SEO 101 course. Like what kind of value is in that course, and what can they expect when they check that course out?
Yeah, the course is designed to be for you if you maybe you have like a bit of an understanding about what SEO is, like what it stands for and what the general goal is, but you're not sure really how it works and what the foundational parts of building an SEO strategy should be. And it's also written for people who are not professional SEOs. So you run a business, you run a website, and you're interested in knowing how to enhance your SEO and interested in knowing how to begin building an SEO strategy, this course is for you, because it puts it in terms that we can all understand. One of my biggest pet peeves in marketing, I've been in marketing for over 15 years, and one of my biggest pet peeves is marketing speak and using a ton of abbreviations, which is ironic because SEO is an abbreviation, but that's just how we all know it. But there's so many abbreviations that and little shorthand speak and things like that, industry speak, that if you're a business owner, right, or you have an e-com store, you're starting a side hustle or a photography business or something like that, you don't live in the marketing world. You don't know all this stuff. So I take it all and translate it into what we all can understand. And so that's really the benefit of that SEO 101 course. And it really goes through, the core components of SEO, how they work together, how they impact your ranking, and the main things that you can do to optimize those areas. So it is very informational, but there's a lot of actionable insights in this. So you can take this course and you're going to leave with a list in your head of things that you can go do to your website. So it's not just like, here's a bunch of information and you don't know what to do with it. It's, here's some good information, and it's going to lead you to probably get some good ideas about how to improve your website.
Mm-hmm. And another thing, even if you're not the one that is doing the SEO for your company, at least you know enough to know what questions to ask, or to know if someone's trying to take advantage of you,
Right.
or how to read a report that someone is giving you. Because even our clients or whatever, they're like, well, we had an SEO person, they gave us this printout sheet, but I have no idea what it says or what it means, and
Yep.
and if you don't know how to read a report, it's useless to you, so
Right.
you have to be able to understand what you're looking at before you can do anything about it. So,
Right.
so
And
of course, like this,
if you're in the web world and you're a business owner and you've got a website, chances are you're familiar with Google Analytics, the
Mhm.
free Google platform to monitor, your website performance. And the thing about that is most people have some misunderstandings about what those metrics mean. So some of that will be cleared up in this course and in some future courses that are coming up, just to give you the knowledge to be able to utilize some of those free tools that are kind of industry standards. But there's just so much in there. You need to sift through it and figure out what's important, how it matters to your website, and the things that you can do to improve the metrics that you're concerned about. So yeah, there's a lot there. And again, my goal with this course and this academy is to create the community, but to also enable you guys in the academy to gain that foundation of knowledge, so that you may not be wanting to become an SEO guru. That's fine. But if you run a business in this modern time, you do need to be familiar with SEO, because I've seen businesses, rise and fall because of their SEO. And so it's just something that's really important. And I'm trying to make it as accessible as possible for everyone.
Right. And make sure you're not spending money on something that is not useful or helpful. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you can set proper expectations on whoever's doing your SEO. You can identify the metrics that actually will make a difference for your company, will actually put money in your pocket, so having that base knowledge is definitely good. And even if that's the only thing that you get out of SEO Academy, I think will pay dividends as far as money is concerned, in the long run, because you'll probably save hundreds and thousands of dollars on not spending on ads and not spending on other stuff that is, not giving you any kind of returns.
And I mean, the chances are that you're going to encounter some point where you are going to be concerned with your SEO. And unfortunately, a lot of times people will make a desperate decision during that time. So they'll say, oh man, I'm not getting any search engine traffic, so what am I going to do? And they'll hire somebody. They're not sure what that person did. Their business doesn't really grow. It was really a desperation move. And so if you can get ahead of that, you can gain a foundational knowledge about SEO. And that's the thing too, is that, the academy is primarily focused around SEO, but it's also content creation. So if you are a business and you are creating content, be it YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, obviously any other social channel, TikTok, if you are creating content, these principles are going to help you shape an effective strategy in that regard as well. So it's rooted in SEO, but it has much further reaching implications than just your website. So
speaking of content, so the other stuff that is available in the SEO tier, the pro SEO tier, is the blog writing tutorial. And I'm a blogger, so this app that you went through, it's a free app, the Hemingway app, and you basically just went through and just showed how to use this app to take all of your blogs and all of your copy to the next level. And I mean, it was just so helpful. I ran my blog posts through it, and apparently I ramble. So it was definitely helpful for me to use this free tool. And I didn't realize how many of the blogger sins I was committing, so to speak, when I was writing my posts, because I was trying to be, cute or artsy or whatever. But, it was, making it difficult to read for the audience.
Yeah, that's a common thing. And I mean, that Hemingway app is such a useful resource, because it's essentially like having a free proofreader on your staff. I mean, like a digital proofreader, copy editor, because it enables you to just go in and you can just stream of consciousness if you want to write a blog post, if that's the way that you write, which is how a lot of us write. And that's good, because we want to get all our thoughts out there. But then you can copy and paste it into that tool, and it will help you chop your sentences up, divide up your text, make it more readable and more approachable. And that's going to be huge for your engagement and for your just overall, blog performance, but you can use it for anything. You can use it for social media posts. You can use it for meta description writing. I've got a tutorial coming out about that this week, that I'm going to utilize that tool with another tool to write a meta description. So there's a lot of, anything that you've got copy on, you can use that Hemingway tool. So yeah, I go through and show you all the ins and outs of that, how to use it, and kind of how that process looks, so that you can use it to write new blogs. You can run your old blogs through it, which is what I did. It sounds like what you did too. And it can be really enlightening. And the cool thing is it's educational at the same time, because the more you use it, the more you start to naturally do the things that it's suggesting, because you're learning what the best practices are for writing digital content.
Yeah, it definitely was helpful. And I like the fact that it was a free tool that was available out there, that, now I know how to use because of the tutorial. So it's definitely helpful to get access to a lot of these free tools, because I always thought like, oh, you have to pay some sort of a subscription to get these tools. But yes, the subscriptions are great for the people that are doing SEO professionally, but there are a ton of tools out there available for free. And so, what you're good at is giving us those resources. And I think one of the things that is available for everyone in the Academy, the free and the paid tier, is the resource list. And in the resource list, you have all of the free tools that are out there that you can use to do these various functions that you talk about in SEO. So that's another great resource that Natalia has been to this endeavor. I made a bunch of TikToks and referenced a bunch of plugins and things that I use or have used, and she compiled them all on a list. And so we're able to share that. And so there's just kind of an ever-growing list of tools that I've actually used, that I've vetted. So you can know that they're useful. You can know how they're useful, what they're useful for. We try to divide it up by the primary use of each tool. So you can skim through that list. If you're in the Academy, it should be bookmarked at the top, and we'll be updating that probably in January. I think it was updated in November, but it'll be ongoing, updated with new resources and things like that. But that's a pretty extensive list of free. There may be some paid tools on there, but if they're on there, it means they're worth it. And it just depends on what level you're at with your SEO and where you want to be. And going back to what you said about free tools and efficiencies and things like that, that's another thing that's really important to me, is that, I mean, we're business owners, right? You and I, this is our business, and we are very focused on being efficient with our time, our resources, our money, our budgeting, all of that for our business. Because obviously, like all of you guys watching this who are business owners, you want to be profitable. So we've just made it a best practice to find the best tool possible and to figure out what investment is worth it, and what makes the most sense. And that's part of the backbone of Hey, It's Will and the SEO Academy. Is a lot of you are concerned about SEO content creation. You want help, you want to learn it, but you don't want to go spend $3,000 a month to partner with a marketing agency that's going to do it for you. So this is a much more budget-friendly option, $50 a month, to have access to me for Q&As, to have all these resources, to network with other people who can offer advice to you about the business and the content creation aspect of it. So we're just trying to create levels of awareness and levels of resources for all of you, so that, again, SEO can be accessible to everyone. Right. Perfect. So aside from the SEO 101 course that's available on the Pro tier, you do have the resource list that's available. You do have the blog writing tutorial. And then also you have YouTube thumbnail Canva templates that you created, so you can standardize your thumbnails on YouTube and a tutorial on how to create those and use those. You also have a meta description writing tutorial, which is very useful, and then a title tag step-by-step tutorial as well. So you have those 4 tutorials available. And then what we're going to be doing is 2 lives per month. The first one is going to be kind of like this, where you have a featured topic that we kind of talk through, and it's more of a teaching thing. You have an opportunity to ask questions if you have them related to the content that is on the page. The second one is going to be towards the end of the month, and we'll talk about dates and all that stuff later on. But it's going to be a very interactive live where you throughout the course of the month, hopefully you have gone through the coursework, you've gone through the tutorials, you've applied some of these things, and maybe if you ran into any issues, any problems, with the application piece, or you learned something during the application piece that, was not in the tutorials, you bring that to that live, and we'll troubleshoot with you, talk you through it, or, just add those insights for everybody else to kind of to glean that wisdom from you as well. So I think that second one is definitely going to be very useful as well. And this one, of course, I mean, it's just like getting another course for free, included with the SEO Academy stuff that is already available. Then also another perk of the SEO Academy, and we discussed this, and the business side of me kind of pushed back a little bit, but there is a discount if you book coaching sessions or other services for Will to Do, like implementation and stuff like that. And so we'll talk about the discounts that are available at some point in this live as well, so you kind of have some idea of what to expect. So it's kind of cool to see how much value you're getting with the SEO Academy. And this is just the first month. So there's 1 course, 4 tutorials, you get the discounts, you get the lives and all of that stuff. But next month, he has another course coming out, and every single month he's going to have another course coming out, and you have access to all of those cumulatively to go back to as long as you have the membership. So after 6 months, you're going to have 6 full-length courses and 20 tutorials and all of that stuff. So you don't lose anything. Like those courses don't go away. You still have access to them as long as you have membership. So I think over time, it's going to just be additional and cumulative value instead of, And then every time something changes in the algorithm, or, like a platform updates or something like that, those tutorials will be updated as well. So you'll have current information that's available as well. Let's see. So as far as what's coming down the pipeline in Q1, in January, so on the 1st, he's launching his second course, which is on keyword research. And that course in itself is gonna change everything for a lot of people. Just a quick testimonial from my mom, who's a seamstress. When all of this COVID stuff went down, the governor of South Carolina shut all non-essential businesses down, like most of America. And so they were considered non-essential. And so they shut down. So my little sister, who was one of the managers for my mom's, one of the managers of my mom's locations, she had the idea of sewing masks. And at first they were going to sew them and donate them to local hospitals and stuff like that. But she was like, I wonder if there's a market for it. So of course, like Will set up, her e-commerce store, and then set up the Etsy shop. But then he went online and he did a quick keyword research, and he found that if you use the word handmade instead of homemade or custom, the search results, or the number of people searching for that specific word handmade in connection to masks or cloth masks, was like through the roof. So he went in and changed the listing to include that one tiny word. And the search results, and that first weekend, I think they had over 500 orders or something ridiculous like that. It went from like just a trickle of orders to like over 500 orders. And within a week, they had enough orders to call everybody back to work. And so they had people working from home. They had all of these precautions in place and stuff like that. But like they were able to rehire everybody back, and they were labeled an essential business because now they were making masks. And that's how they survived the shutdown, just by making that tiny little tweak in their listings, to include that word handmade. And I just didn't realize that something that small could make such a big difference. And it really does. So if 50,000 people are searching for that handmade word and you're using custom, which is getting 500 searches, you're missing out on thousands and thousands and thousands of searches. So having a keyword research course where, Will teach you ways of doing it, and maybe even doing it for free, because there are platforms that you can use to do it for free, is gonna, pay dividends for your company as well. So I'm really excited about that. Then in February, he's gonna do a full blog writing tutorial. And he schooled me on this blog writing, all of the stuff that is involved in blog writing. And so there's a ton of value in that. So blog writing February. March 1st is going to be competitor research. And what blows my mind is his ability. Like, you can literally go in and see like what kind of paid ads your competitors are running, what they look like, what words they're using, what keywords they're ranking for. Like, there's so much information that is readily available to business owners out there that give you that leg up. Like, you can see exactly what your competitors are doing, and what they're actually making money from, so you can, get a piece of that market share, especially for these, national competitors that you're competing with, on a national level as a small business. So competitor research is going to be in March, and then April is technical SEO. Technical SEO is huge. I mean, you were hired by a company right before Thanksgiving for Black Friday. And I know we can't disclose the name of the company and stuff like that, but she had in her store on the main homepage, she had a broken link to her store. Like, her shop button was broken to all her products. And I mean, like, she had over 500 broken links. So even, we always say SEO takes a long time to it's almost like fixing your credit score. It's going to take 30 to 60 days minimum to see results or whatever. But like, when it comes to technical SEO, you can see immediate improvements if you change certain things, like fixing broken links, fixing, missing meta descriptions, compressing images. All of that stuff is considered technical SEO. It's going to change the user experience. It's going to improve user experience. It's going to give you faster load speeds. All of these things, these are all part of technical SEO, and a lot of it you can diagnose with free tools. So I'm really excited for April, because that course is going to be a game changer for a lot of people. So what do you think? Do you have any? I feel like I've been talking like nonstop for 10 minutes. So
yeah. Well, now let's get into SEO. Let's get into questions. I think we've had a few questions on courses and social media and things like that. And let's give some value. That's what I preach. So let's give it to them.
Right. So the questions that we've had in the past couple of days and stuff like that, a lot of people are asking about the detailed SEO extension that you've used for a lot of the 60-second reviews on your TikTok. So
Mhm.
I put it on your calendar to do a tutorial about how to use the SEO, the detailed SEO extension. So I'm excited about that. Then you have the ADA compliance piece, a lot of people didn't realize, you know, the issues with ADA compliance on websites and stuff like that. So you've had a lot of questions about that on in the SEO Academy and on TikTok. So I'm excited because I put that on your calendar. You're going to do a tutorial on that. And then also we have SERP analysis, and you're going to have to tell me what SERP is again, because I have no idea.
Yeah, SERP stands for search engine results page, and it's just Google. When you conduct a search and you get results, that's a SERP. It's a results page. So there's a lot of really, really useful information that you can glean from a search engine result page. And so I'm going to walk you through all that and the implications and how you can pull some things out of there, particularly for featured snippets, and particularly for things like voice search, which is a big deal. Voice search is at an all-time high. It's only getting more and more popular and frequent. So, it's going to be a big deal in the next year, really. I used to say the next 5 years, but I really think it'll be in the next year that voice search will be a very prominent part of SEO, and there will be different strategies targeting at making sure you can get some visibility from voice search because of the amount of people that are going to be using that primarily. So that's all going to come back to that SERP analysis, the search engine results page analysis, and the kind of research you can get obviously for free because it's just Google. And so I'm excited to walk everybody through that and to show some of that value.
Yeah. And as far as the SEO Academy, like, I know we've been live for 3 weeks now, but we already have results. Like, some of our members, yes, members. Some of our members are actually seeing results, and like one of them is Sarah, and I wanted to like mention this because she said that she used the tutorials. I updated my title, and I'm quoting her here. I updated my title and metadata for my homepage, but Google has temporarily suspended manual crawl requests because they're doing an update to their software. It says it should be back up in a few weeks. So she was like, oh, I made the changes, but we don't know how long it's going to take. And usually it takes 3 to 14 days.
I mean, it's just a guess. You never know.
Yeah. But then she said, she's like 3 days later, she was like, it's updated already. I changed it on Saturday, and by Monday it was updated. And then she said, also, my website moved to the second position up from the fifth. So this is within 2 days of changing the title tags and the meta description. She moved from the fifth position to the second. And she says, it's a newer website, and because I'm a doctor, all the doctor directories were in the way before, but now only Yelp is ahead of me. So like,
Yeah,
it
that's
really
awesome.
make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of times it is, so SEO isn't simple, but a lot of times you can make some pretty good, quick progress just by buttoning up some of those things. And that's all stuff that is in the SEO 101 course. And it's all stuff that was in, I think that was that was my second tutorial. The step-by-step tutorial for the pro members was the title tag, building a title tag and making it SEO friendly. So I mean, a lot of times it's some simple stuff like that you get those tools and increase your skill set a little bit in the way that you think about those things, and then you can go and apply it across your whole website or your Instagram channel or your YouTube channel, and you can start to see some pretty quick results. I don't promise that because again, when it comes to SEO, you're kind of at the mercy of the Google crawler and whenever they crawl and update your website. And that's why I always give that big range, like 3 to 14 days, because Google will tell you that they crawl all websites frequently. But I've seen metadata not be updated on Google search results for 2 weeks. So it just depends. It depends on your site's popularity and stuff like that. So it's just a good idea to stay on top of it and to make sure you're setting that foundation and getting it in the right place. For a lot of people, the metadata and things like that are an afterthought, and they just throw it in there as they're building their website. They don't even really put thought into it without realizing, just like Sarah said, that some tweaks, and then it gets recrawled and you just jumped up 4 spots. So it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So speaking of afterthoughts and parts of SEO that is kind of an afterthought for a lot of people, I'm going to change gears a little bit and go into our featured topic now. So one area of SEO that most people miss is the off-page SEO. And tell me what off-page SEO is exactly, and why most people miss that.
Yeah, off-page SEO is, and I didn't name these components: on page, off page, and technical. Those were already coined before me. That's above my pay grade to name those things. But I'm glad they named them as easily as they did, because it's very easy to assume that on-page SEO are the things that happen on your website. So your copy, your images, the structure of your site, the design, the platform that it's on, all that stuff. It's on your page. So just like the name would imply, off-page SEO are the things that impact your SEO that do not happen physically on your website. And so there's a number of different things that flow into that. And a lot of times those are afterthoughts, and that's the reason. It's because they don't happen on your website and you don't feel like that you can really control those, or you're not aware of the fact that they have an impact on your SEO. Now, there are some that don't. And the other thing about off-page SEO is that there's not always a negative impact on your site like there can be if your on-page SEO is out of whack. It's just the opportunities that you're missing out to boost your overall SEO by leveraging off-page. So there's a couple of different things that go into off-page SEO that can really enhance the overall visibility and the SEO of your site. And that would be number one, if you're a local business and you are a business that you have a target audience that is in your region, your city, your county, something like that. That's primarily the people that you want to reach. That Google My Business listing, or Google Business, I think is what they just call it, Google Business now. But that business listing is very, very important for your SEO. That is going to help establish where you rank locally for searches pertaining to your business. And that's what you want. If you're interested in local SEO and somebody searches for landscaping and you're a landscaper, or you're a photographer, or you're a hairstylist, we have a hair salon client that's obviously concerned about local SEO, that becomes very important, that you rank highly for that. And a big piece of that optimization is your Google business listing. So is it correct? Are you classified? A lot of people don't know this too, but you can actually be active on your Google My Business listing. You can post photos, you can post business updates. You can almost use it like a little mini Facebook page almost, where you post and you interact with customers, encouraging people to leave reviews. That's a big thing that goes into the Google My Business listing that can help boost your SEO. The more positive reviews you have, the better that's going to be for your off-page SEO. So that's one factor. Along those same lines is your social media presence. And this isn't a direct, like, if you've got good social media, you're going to rank better. It's not like a direct correlation like that, but it is one of those things that over time will strengthen your authority, because your website authority, which is kind of the primary focus of off-page SEO, is fueled by all of these outside factors. So your Google My Business listing, your social media presence. And so if you have a vibrant, active social media presence, that's going to bode well for your website's authority, as long as those things are all interconnected. So everywhere that you have the chance to link your website to your Facebook page, to your Instagram profile, to your Pinterest boards, and things like that, when you can create those interlinking networks of content, it's going to open up the doors for you with off-page SEO. The other factor of that is that a lot of those channels are indexed. So you'll notice this if you go do a search for a brand or an influencer or somebody famous or something like that, you're going to get, ideally their website first, and then under that you're going to get all their social channels, right? And that's a lot of times where people go to get to know a business or to get to know somebody. Especially, I know we have a lot of photographers in this group. If your Instagram profile shows up and someone's looking for a photographer, they're probably going to go to your Instagram profile first, right? So you want to make sure that those are interconnected, and that as they're browsing your Instagram profile, there's a clear way to get to your website where they can become a customer. So just things like that can help boost your off-page SEO by boosting your authority and your web presence. But the main factor of off-page SEO is backlinks, and that's going to be the main really source of your authority. And a backlink, if you're not familiar, it's when another website links to your website. So this can be business listings. This can be other bloggers or content creators. This can be business partners that have a link to your website on their website because you guys are partnered up. Anything like that is going to help boost your authority, because it really works just like high school. Like, if the cool people know you, then you're cool. And so it's kind of like, internet cred, so to speak. And so the more people that are linking back to you, the more authoritative that Google's going to think that your website is, and they're going to kind of give you more clout and give you more of an authoritative voice in your industry and what you're talking about. So backlinks are really important to that. And so acquiring some backlinks from high quality sources are a really important piece of SEO. And it's one that is kind of obscure, that people don't focus on, to your point, an overlooked part. Because some of those backlinks can just happen organically, but sometimes you really do need to put in a little bit of legwork to try to find them and to track them, monitor them, and make sure everything's good with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of backlinks, so this is one area that I've come to find out in the past couple of months that can really hurt you when it comes to off-page SEO. Like, we talk about like, oh, it doesn't really affect or help. But on the other side of that, like, if you're not careful with your off-page SEO, it can really hurt your ranking. So we have a client that we're allowed to say their name, right? Yeah. So the hair salon, so they have a robust website. They've been around for over 5 years. They, by every measure, like on page and technical SEO and stuff like that, they should be ranking #1 or very high on just about any search result, especially local. They have hundreds of reviews. They have a very robust and updated website. They have a really active blog. All their social media channels are really really active and just really valuable content. So it's very it's just like, if I could grade their website from just looking at it and not being an SEOist, I'd give it an A+. And so I would expect it to be really high on the list. But if you actually search them, they don't show up at the top. And in fact, it almost comes across as if like they're shadow banned by Google. And so when when Will looked at it, he found some really interesting off-page stuff. Will, can you talk about that and talk about what you were able to find and what was going on with their website? Like,
Yeah, it was wild because you're exactly right, and they're, for all intents and purposes, they should have been dominating the search rankings in the local area where they are, because the people that had those top spots had like inactive websites. They weren't blogging, no reviews on Google Business, no real like social media presence or anything like that. And so we were just kind of all scratching our heads as to why they were showing up like fifth, sixth, seventh, depending on what you were searching for locally. But we did some scans, and this is going to come in as part of off-page SEO as well. Talking about backlinks, we did a backlink scan to assess the toxicity is the term that's used a lot of times, but basically like looking at the authority of where their backlinks are coming from, because you can have a lot of backlinks, but if they're coming from places with low authority, that's not really helping you, right? So we were just trying to diagnose, okay, what's the deal? Like, where's the gap here? Because everything is set up correctly. It's buttoned up nicely. It looks good. They've checked off all the boxes in terms of SEO and website performance and load speed and mobile friendliness and all the tips that I always talk about. And the one thing that we uncovered, I found a bunch of backlinks to pages on their domain that didn't exist. So when you click on them, you would get a 404 error. But they were also very curious in terms of the content that was in the URL. And I won't get into details because we'll try to keep this PG. But it was very explicit things that I was seeing from these backlinks to their domain, and there was a ton of them. And so I asked them about it, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, 5 years ago, it might have been longer, but 4 or 5 years ago, their site was hacked, and they're not sure how, but it happens. Their site was hacked, and some spam pages were put up on their domain, and a bunch of backlinks were generated to those pages that were, essentially data mining or something, something scandalous like that. And so they hired somebody to come in and clean it up and got rid of all the spam pages, got their security ramped up to where it couldn't happen again, got everything all buttoned up, and then forgot about it. But what happened was those backlinks were still out there. And because of that, Google was seeing that they were being linked to a lot, not just one or two, because you can have several and it's not going to hurt you. But I think in all, they had close to 300 different domains that would be considered spam by a search engine like Google because of their zero authority. And those were all out there. So they're getting this kind of negative attention from Google, and you can see it in their authority. You can see when you look at their authority trend, it just drops from like 2016 to now, and it's just a steady decline. And that was something that they weren't aware of, that they didn't even know that was a factor. And so we were able to go in and start the process of cleaning some of those up. Now, you can't go and take down links that aren't on your website, right? But Google does offer some options for you to basically let Google know that these were acquired through underhanded measures and to ignore these links. But yeah, that was something that I'd never seen it at that volume with a client before, but it's definitely something that you do have to keep an eye on for off-page SEO, because the internet's the Wild West. Sometimes people are just out to get data and hack your site and do a bunch of spammy stuff. So it's a good testament for making sure your site's secure and also making sure you're monitoring those backlinks.
Mm-hmm. So how do you clean something like that up? Because you said that they had somebody that went in and physically removed the pages on their domain and cleaned up their security and made it more robust and stuff like that. But that didn't fix the problem as far as Google was concerned. So how do you clean that up so it actually stops hurting your authority?
Yeah, so there is a tool through Google Search Console called the disavow tool, backlink disavow tool. And you essentially just make a text file of all the domains that you've uncovered that are spammy. If you use a tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush, one of the higher end paid tools, they'll do this list for you. And you can export it and then you upload it through Google Search Console. And it does take some time. I mean, it's going to take, a month or two really to start seeing their authority go back up because of this. But you've got to start the process early of going ahead and letting Google know that you want to disavow those backlinks so that you don't have that negative. Because if they had gone back, I think before this happened, their authority score was close to 20, which is not bad for a local business. That definitely would have put them above everyone else locally in their area in terms of authority. But it dropped from 20 to basically zero over time. And now if they had gone back in, even within a year of that happening, their score went down maybe 3 or 4 points that first year. And they cleaned it up, but over time those backlinks kept piling up, and so you have to consistently monitor it. And I always recommend, if it's something you've got a problem with, like for this particular client, really for about a year they need to monitor it every single month. And if new ones pop up, disavow. If new ones pop up, disavow, just to stay on top of it and make their authority a priority for them, to stay on top of it. But at least a couple times a year or once a quarter, doing a backlink scan and making sure that you haven't had an influx of toxic backlinks. Because if you don't do that scan, there's really no way for you to know. You don't know who's linking to you unless you notice like you're getting some traffic from a weird source from Google Analytics or something like that. But yeah, so I mean, it's something that you need to utilize the tools that are out there, or partner with somebody who is monitoring that for you so that you can stay on top of it.
Mm-hmm. So if someone suspects that they have an issue with this thing, like they feel like they have a really good, robust website, but for some reason they feel like they're shadow banned on Google, where they're not ranking where they should be, what can they do and what should they do to kind of start diagnosing the issues, the causes for that?
Yeah. So a couple of the tools I just mentioned, like I said, SEMrush and Ahrefs. If you are interested in that, you can do a trial, I think, of each of those. And if you're specifically just interested in the backlink thing, I would pick either tool. I think SEMrush has a specific backlink audit tool as part of their project setup. So you can set up your domain as a project if you get a free trial, and then just run that backlink audit. And it's going to check all your backlinks, let you know if any of them have been flagged as spammy or have really low authority, and we'll give you the option to export those. So if that's something that you want to check out, you can do that, or obviously, you can reach out to me, and I already have those tools at my disposal, so I can run a check for you, and we can talk about getting that cleaned up for you, if you want to do that as well. So yeah, there's a couple of different ways out there to do that, but yeah, if you were going to undertake that yourself, I would recommend SEMrush.
Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of that, if you're in the SEO Academy, the paid tier, there is a kind of a perk that Will does of free 5-minute reviews of your website. So basically, he'll go in, and if there's like an issue specifically that you want him to look at, he'll do a scan or what have you, and then record a 5-minute review of your website. So not only do you get your question answered, but it can serve as a tutorial for other members who, may have the same issue or, suspect that they have the same issue and stuff like that. So it's almost a way to teach other members and kind of help each other out. But if you suspect you have this issue or something like that, and you want him to specifically look at, the backlink issue, just reach out to him and see if he, we do have a wait list for this because he only does 1 or 2 per month. They do take some time, but if you want to just add your name to the wait list and have him do a 5-minute review, you can get that review done for free for you. So that is another way of, you kind of getting that done without actually having to pay for it or, having to get a free trial or what have you. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. Oh, and then as far as discounted rates, so if you find an issue, so for example, you do a free SEMrush trial and you run an audit or a scan and it uncovers some issues and you're like, okay, now what do I do? You can book a consult with Will, basically where he kind of coaches you through how to fix it. And it's basically an hourly rate that you have, and you get as pro tier members, you get 20% off his hourly rate, which is a pretty hefty discount. So keep that in mind. So if you uncover an issue and you're like, okay, now what do I do? Like, how do I fix it? Just book an hour, have him walk you through it, troubleshoot or whatever, and then you're good to go. So keep that in mind. As far as, let's see. So I think that topic was really good. I feel like I learned a ton from you. As far as toxic backlinks, I did not realize how much of a difference, backlinks and all of that stuff can make, especially until I saw like their trend line, like where you're like, how in the world are they, do they have such a low authority score? And I mean, they spend a lot of time and effort on their website and on their social media and stuff like that. Like, and to be that ranking that low just did not make any sense. And they had like over 3,000 spammy backlinks that you had to disavow. And I mean, that totally makes sense. If you have 3,000 spammy backlinks that you have to disavow, you're Google is probably going to be like.
And this is a good opportunity to like, I try not to be like judgmental towards other SEO people or marketing people, but marketing, just like anything else, there are strong opinions and there are gurus and know-it-alls. And so one of the things I saw even just this morning in an SEO Facebook group is somebody preaching to high heaven that toxic backlinks don't matter. It's a myth. And those don't actually hurt your SEO. Here's the thing. Just because it didn't happen to that person doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And I can tell you from experience, and there is a fine line. Like, yes, like I said before, if you've got 5 toxic backlinks, that's not hurting you at all. I probably wouldn't even recommend disavowing them if you've only got 5, because that's something that really is common to probably every website out there. You've probably got toxic backlinks, even if you think you don't. But there is definitely a line where if it's a very large percentage of your backlinks, which for this client, it was over like 70% of their backlinks were spam, that's going to impact your SEO negatively. And so you do have to stay on top of that. So I just wanted to say that if you get on message boards and you've tried to find things, everything that I teach in this academy is learn firsthand. It's not an assumption. It's not, a best guess. It's things that I've done and that I've seen work. And so that's one of the things too about this community is I just want there to be some trust restored in SEO, because again, like everything else, there's differing opinions and depending on who you listen to, this matters or this doesn't matter, and then this other person is. So I'm going to tell you guys from experience, and I'm also available, as Natalia said, for your specific situation. If you're like, hey, here's my website, what's the deal? To be able to look at it and just assess it holistically, and say, well, here's the things that I'd be concerned about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wonderful. So I'm going to wrap this up. I feel like we kind of shared a lot and gave a lot of value here. So I wanted to thank you so much for your hard work. I know I watch you put together the courses and I watch you agonize over content, and I know you really care. And so it's really cool to see that there are people that, believe in your content and that have signed up for the paid tier, and that are actively looking forward to seeing, what you come out with in January. And, they're using your content to fix their website and change their strategy as well. So it's kind of cool to see this in action. So I'm really proud of you. I wanted to say that online.
Appreciate it.
But the next live, I wanted to mention this before we get off air. So we have another live planned on the 30th of this month. So next week, we're on the 30th at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, because we're on the East Coast. We are planning another live, and we want that live to be very interactive. So bring your applications. Like, I did this based on your tutorial and it didn't work. I did this based on your course and it didn't work. I did this and I had to make this tweak to make it work. Like, bring your application and your practical knowledge, and your testimonials and all of that. We want to make sure that what Will is putting out there is working for you. And if it's not, then he can talk you through it to make sure that it works for you. So you're getting value out of these courses every single month. So 12:30. So December 30th, not 12:30. December 30th at, I'm going to look again, make sure. December 30th at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's the next live. We'll send out the link. It's going to be available for the SEO Pro tier only. So this one's available to everyone. That second one is going to be available to the people who have signed up for the Pro tier. And so they are going to get hands-on application, problem solving, troubleshooting, an hour, however long he needs to be on. He will walk you through applying a lot of the knowledge that he's shared with you to your website. So you can actually see the benefits of that. And we want to make sure that you're not just learning, because 80% of these online courses are never completed and never utilized. And if you're paying money for it, we want to make sure you're getting your money's worth. And so that live is for that purpose. So we want to make sure you're applying what you're learning and you are seeing the results that are expected from those applications. Do you have any thoughts or comments before I end?
No, that was great. Looking forward to doing this more often. This was our first one, so thanks to anyone who hung out live or anyone watching this after the fact. We'll make sure that these kind of live on in the feed, so you might be watching this later. Feel free to comment on this video or under it in the Academy, ask any questions or react to anything we said. I try to be really interactive and responsive. So just another benefit of the Academy is just, knowing that I'm watching and I'm able to jump in and help you directly with any questions and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right. Thank you so much for everyone who's watched. And I will see you on the 30th for our next live.
All right. See you guys.
All right.